I left my wife at a barbecue, and that was just the beginning. Her insults, her manipulation, the way she turned every friend into an audience, it all backfired. She thought I'd keep playing her game, but I had other plans. This is how I took back my life, one quiet, calculated move at a time. It started with a candle and a fight over a barbecue. Emily had lit one of her lavender candles again, her go-to scent, like she was staging a magazine shoot instead of living in a house with real bills and real problems. I was at the kitchen counter, sorting invoices for my construction company, trying to figure out why our joint account kept bleeding cash. We were supposed to be at my best friend Mike's birthday party in less than an hour. I was dressed, keys in hand, ready to go. Emily? Still on the couch in yoga pants, scrolling her phone like she was the CEO of Instagram. You planning to get ready anytime soon? I asked. She didn't even look up. God, Tom, chill. It's just Mike's barbecue. Not like we're meeting the president. That hit harder than she probably intended. Mike's been my closest friend since college. When my dad died, he was the one who helped me clean out the house. The guy who showed up when it mattered. And now my wife couldn't be bothered to change pants for his birthday. I told you this matters to me, I said. She sighed, finally glancing at the clock. I'll be ready in 10. 20 minutes later, nothing had changed, except maybe the tone of her scrolling. I grabbed my jacket. I'm heading out. You coming or not? Her head snapped up like I just insulted her. Wow, seriously? You're leaving without me? Real classy. You had an hour, I said. I'm not begging you to show up for my friend. Fine, she said, eyes narrowing. Go be the perfect friend. Don't expect me to chase you. I didn't. I left. In the truck, gripping the wheel tighter than I should. I had the first real moment of clarity in a long time. It wasn't just about being late. It was about always being last on her list. The way she twisted every situation to make me look like the one overreacting. Like I was supposed to wait for her cue just to live my life. Halfway to the party, she called. You really left without me? She said, her voice full of fake hurt. I told you I was going. You could have waited 5 more minutes. You had 60. She laughed, that sharp, dismissive laugh she'd perfected over the years. God, Tom, it's just a barbecue. No, I said, it's Mike's birthday. You knew that. Please, you're acting like I blew off the Super Bowl. You blew off my friend, same difference. You're making this a thing, she said. I'm getting ready now. Don't rush on my account. You know where it is. You're seriously not coming back to get me? Nope. She went quiet. Then, like flipping a switch, I just thought we'd go together. As a couple. We're not a couple if you can't show up for the people who matter to me. You're being such a jerk about this. And you're being a control freak. Pick your poison. Fine, she snapped. I'll get there when I get there. I hung up. Mike's place was already buzzing when I pulled up. String lights swayed over the patio. Burgers sizzled on the grill. People laughed, clinked bottles, and made small talk about football and rising lumber prices. Mike handed me a beer. Where's Em? Running late, I said, popping the cap. He smirked. Her usual. She's trying to keep me on a leash. Mike's face shifted, part concern, part recognition. He knew. He just hadn't said it out loud before. An hour passed, no Emily. Then she arrived. Perfect hair, high heels, tight dress, like she was walking into a fashion show, not a backyard party. Heads turned. She made sure of that. She didn't come to me, just waved vaguely and headed straight to Sarah, laughing like she'd been here all night. Like she didn't just try to guilt me into turning around. I stayed put, beer in hand, watching her work the crowd. That was Emily's real gift, control. Not through yelling or slamming doors. Through charm, through timing, through subtle digs disguised as jokes, smiles that masked daggers. Always on stage. She made a joke about me fixing things at the hardware store like that was the extent of who I was. The crowd chuckled, politely. Except Sarah, her smile faltered. Karen, our neighbor, looked away. Even Dave, who usually laughed at anything, hesitated. That moment stuck with me, because I saw what they saw, the act behind the charm, the digs, the disrespect. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. I played it cool, laughed it off, flipped burgers, and had another beer. But I knew something had shifted. Something small, maybe. Invisible to her, but real. I wasn't angry. Not anymore. I was waking up. A week after the barbecue, I sat at our kitchen table, staring at our latest credit card statement. Another 2 grand, restaurants, clothing stores, salon visits. None of it was mine. Emily, I said, holding up the paper, you want to explain this? She was typing on her laptop, barely glanced up. Seriously, Tom? You're going to nickel and dime me now? 2 grand isn't a dime. We didn't talk about this. It was for work. I have to look presentable. $300 on wine with your team is looking presentable? She let out a long, exaggerated sigh, like I just asked her to solve world hunger. It's called networking. You wouldn't get it. You're not in the real world like I am. That one hit harder than she probably realized. Like my business wasn't real just because I wore jeans instead of a suit. I build things for a living, Emily. Real things. You don't get to mock that just because I don't carry a briefcase. Oh, here we go, she said, sitting back. This again. You're so sensitive. It's just money. Then use yours. She laughed, but it wasn't the charming kind. It was sharp, bitter, defensive. Wow. So now we're splitting hairs? No, we're splitting finances. I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, and transferred half our joint savings into my personal account. Done. She stopped typing. You serious right now? From now on, you pay your way, I pay mine. I'm not your bank. Her smile twisted. You're being dramatic. I'm being fair. I walked out, leaving her at the table, staring at the screen like she couldn't believe I'd stopped playing the role she'd written for me. Mike and I grabbed a beer that night. I told him everything. About the money, the jabs, how I was finally drawing a line. He didn't say much, just listened. That's who he is. But when I was done, he leaned in and said, she's testing you, man. You pull back, she'll push harder. He was right. The next week was like a game of chess I didn't know we were playing. Emily started asking questions like, you still going to Mike's next weekend? The same events she usually rolled her eyes at. She started dressing down at home, asking about my day, offering to help with my invoices even though she never had before. But it wasn't genuine. It was strategy. One night she suggested we go to Napa for a weekend, the same trip I'd been proposing for years, always met with excuses. Now suddenly it was her idea. I agreed, curious to see how far the act would go. We didn't even make it out of town before the first comment. Should we stop at Home Depot on the way? She said, smirking. Wouldn't want you to miss your favorite part. I didn't answer. I just pulled off at the next exit, circled back home, and unpacked. You're kidding, she said, watching me. Nope, weekend's off. You're overreacting. No, I'm done pretending that was a joke. She didn't speak to me for 2 days. That used to work on me. Silence, distance. It made me chase, apologize, try to fix whatever she'd twisted. This time I let it sit. By now I'd moved into the guest room. Separate accounts, separate laundry, separate lives under one roof. She hated it. Every time I took a step back, she tried to pull me in, using charm, guilt, even acting like we were fine in front of others. But the mask slipped more each time. One night she came home late, clearly buzzed from a company happy hour. She leaned in close, smile crooked. I miss the old you. I didn't blink. The old me let things slide. That guy's gone. She pulled back like I slapped her. You really think you're better than me now? No, I said. I just know I deserve better than this. She stormed off. That same week, she posted a picture of us on social media, an old photo from a trip to Colorado with some fake caption about weekend vibes and grateful for this guy. The comments were full of hearts and fake admiration from her work friends. I didn't say a word. She tried to use my silence as a sign of weakness. But I wasn't retreating. I was regrouping. At her company's annual party, it all came to a head. I showed up because she asked. She said it would look good for her if I came. I played along, like a prop in a play I'd already stopped watching. Emily was working the room like a campaign trail, flirting, laughing too loud, touching arms, telling stories where I was the punchline. Then she introduced me to her boss. This is Tom, she said, the guy who can fix anything. as long as it involves duct tape and a drill. The group laughed. I didn't. I actually run a construction firm, I said calmly. We just finished a 10-story build downtown. On time, under budget. We design, manage, and execute every detail. Her boss raised an eyebrow. Impressive. You got a card? I handed him one. Emily's smile tightened. That was the moment she realized her usual tactics didn't work anymore. The jokes, the digs, the crowd control. It was slipping. People were seeing through it. Through her. Later that night, she pulled me aside. You embarrassed me. No, I said. You embarrassed yourself. I'm just uncovering for it. After the company party, the shift was permanent. Not in a dramatic fireworks kind of way, but in the quiet realization that there was no turning back. Emily tried to act like everything was normal. The next morning, she made coffee, asked if I wanted eggs. Like she hadn't humiliated me in front of her entire company, like she hadn't tried to make me feel small just to make herself look bigger. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. I'd made up my mind. That weekend, I moved into a motel. Nothing fancy, just four walls, a bed, and silence that didn't try to manipulate me. I didn't tell her I was going. I just packed a bag while she was out, left my ring in the drawer, and walked away. My phone blew up an hour later. Texts, missed calls, voicemails. What is this? A tantrum? You're being ridiculous. You seriously checked into a motel? Grow up. Not once did she say she was sorry. Not once did she ask what pushed me there. Just blame, deflection, and panic that she might be losing control. I didn't respond. 3 weeks passed. I found a small downtown apartment, signed the lease solo, paid from my own account. The place was barely furnished, but it felt like mine, because for the first time in years, no one was trying to own a piece of me. I called my accountant, Laura, had her split the business paperwork, remove Emily from everything she had her name on, insurance, office lease, shared credit lines. We'd co-sign things when we were building a life. But this life was mine now. Laura raised an eyebrow. You're sure? Absolutely, I said. She nodded. Then I'll make it clean. And she did. Emily, meanwhile, kept trying to reel me back in. Not with kindness, with strategies. A text asking if I'd talk it out. An email with a budget breakdown, like we were teammates again. A voicemail saying she missed the old us. The truth was, there never was an us. There was her version of it, where I played the straight man to her spotlight, the quiet fixer in the background while she performed for a crowd, and now the crowd was shrinking. People had started noticing. Karen, our neighbor, invited us both to a house party. Emily insisted we go. It would be weird if we didn't, she said. I agreed, but only because I was ready for whatever happened next. At the party, I kept my distance. Talked to Dave and his wife about a remodel they were planning. Small talk, easy. Then Emily called me over, introduced me to some guy named Brian, finance guy, firm handshake, polite smile. Emily said, Tom runs his own construction thing. He's great with a hammer. That line again, diminishing, mocking, cute on the surface, but always sharp underneath. I didn't blink. Actually, we just finished a commercial project for a real estate firm. 10 stories, handled every detail from design to punch list. If your company ever needs a contractor, let me know. Brian nodded. Sounds solid. You hiring? Depends on the job. Emily didn't laugh. She just stepped aside and walked toward the patio. I instinctively reached out to guide her through the crowd, an old habit from our earlier years. She yanked her arm away. Don't start, Tom. It's not like anyone here thinks we're together. The room went quiet. Karen stopped mid-sentence. Dave's wife stared. Brian looked away. Karen's husband, Steve, broke the silence. That's a cheap shot. Emily forced a laugh. Relax, people. It's a joke. Karen crossed her arms. Jokes don't humiliate your spouse in public. Emily looked around, realizing she'd lost the room, but instead of apologizing, she doubled down. You're all so sensitive tonight. I set my drink down, calm, steady. I'm done, I said quietly. This ends now. And I left. No dramatic exit, just clarity. Karen followed me out. You okay? I'm drawing the line, I said. She nodded. You should have done it years ago. That night I didn't go back to the motel. I went home, packed everything that mattered, and checked out permanently. A week later, I met with my lawyer to start divorce paperwork. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't spite. It was closure. Emily texted me once more. "You're going to regret this. No one else will put up with you." That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. Because I wasn't looking for someone to put up with me. I was done settling. After I filed the divorce paperwork, things got quiet. Not peaceful, just the kind of silence that happens when one person is waiting for the other to blink. Emily didn't sign the documents right away. She texted, called, sent long emails filled with emotional landmines. "We've built a life together. You're throwing away 10 years. This isn't like you. We just need to hit reset." But nothing ever came with an apology. No ownership, no accountability, just rewrites of history where I was the one walking out for no reason. She didn't want to fix things. She wanted to regain control. I ignored it all. Not to be cold, but because I knew she hadn't changed. She'd just run out of tools to manipulate me. I told my accountant to finalize the asset separation. I had her removed from every shared expense, every business attachment, even the backup contact on my phone plan. It wasn't about punishing her. It was about drawing the final line. And once that was done, I got to work rebuilding. The first thing I did was hit the gym. Not to get revenge fit, not to prove anything. Just to feel like I owned my body again. My space, my time, my life. Sweat didn't lie. It didn't twist words. It just showed up and delivered results. A few weeks in, I ran into Dave there, spotting some guy on the bench press. He grinned when he saw me. "Look at you," he said. "You ready to build a skyscraper or what?" "Just clearing my head," I said. He leaned against the rack. "Lisa said Emily's been talking, telling people you just bailed, making it sound like you cracked under pressure." I shrugged. "She can say what she wants. I'm not in her story anymore." Another guy nearby, someone I'd seen around but never talked to, chimed in. "You've got that look, man," he said, "like you're done taking crap." I smiled. "That's because I am." Back at my apartment, I kept things simple. Work, gym, dinners with Mike, the occasional visit from Karen and her dog, Rusty. No chaos, no walking on eggshells, no sudden accusations over nothing. I started sleeping through the night again. Work took off. I landed 2 new commercial contracts, expanded my crew, and finally hired a real office manager. For the first time in years, I had breathing room. Space to think, plan, grow. Meanwhile, Emily kept trying to delay the inevitable. She sent a message asking to meet just to talk. I agreed, not to negotiate, just to give her the closure she claimed to want. We met at a coffee shop, neutral ground. She arrived late as always, less put together than usual. No heels, no performance, just jeans and a forced smile. She sat down, didn't order anything. "You didn't have to do this," she said, motioning to the envelope on the table, the final documents. "We could have fixed it." "We didn't break." "You did," I said calmly. "With every jab, every time you cut me down in front of people, every time you turned me into a joke." "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. "You just wanted the spotlight. And you thought dimming mine would make yours brighter." She looked away. "We've got a history, Tom. 10 years, a house, a life. I'm not throwing it away. I'm just done pretending it worked." "You'll regret this," she said, quieter now. "You think you'll find someone who puts up with your stubbornness?" "I'm not looking for someone to put up with me. I'm building a life that doesn't require permission to be myself." She leaned forward. "Please. We can go to therapy. Start fresh." "You don't get it. I don't want a better version of this. I want something entirely different." Her tone shifted again, frustrated now. "So that's it? You walk away? You're done?" I was done the moment I stopped defending myself. I stood, left cash for my coffee, and slid the envelope across the table. "You have 2 weeks to sign. After that, my attorney handles it." I didn't wait for a reply. On my way out, the barista gave me a nod. One of those quiet, understanding nods that says, "Yeah, I heard it all. You're doing the right thing." And I was. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I was done. 8 months later, I barely thought about her. Not in a cruel way, just honestly. Emily became background noise, a chapter closed. I heard through mutual friends that she was dating someone from her office. The same firm, the same social circles. No surprise, I didn't care. I'd moved into a condo downtown. It wasn't fancy, but it had something the old house never did. Peace. No tension in the hallways. No pretending. Just a quiet space that belonged entirely to me. The business was thriving. I'd added 3 new hires, picked up 2 major commercial clients, and finally started turning down low-budget jobs. Not because I was above them, but because I had choices now. Time, freedom, control, all the things I thought I'd had before, but never really did. Mike and I still grabbed beers every Friday. Sarah hosted poker nights. Karen would swing by with Rusty and a bottle of wine. Dave came over to complain about lumber prices like clockwork. Life wasn't perfect, but it was real. And mine. Then one afternoon I ran into Rachel, the colleague from Emily's office, the one who had seen through the act early on. We bumped into each other at the hardware store. She was there picking up paint samples. I was grabbing rollers for a client's remodel. She smiled. "Hey, stranger." I nodded. "Long time. How's everything?" "Solid," I said. "Not just doing, living." She raised an eyebrow. "You look free." "Feels that way." We talked for a few minutes. She never brought up Emily. Neither did I. That part of the story was over. What mattered now was what came next. I started taking short road trips. No one to ask, no one to clear schedules with. If I wanted to drive to the coast, I did. If I wanted to spend a Saturday reorganizing my tool shed, that was my choice too. I wasn't escaping anything anymore. I was building something new, something better. One day I went back to that same coffee shop where I'd met Emily for the last time. Not to linger on the past, just because I liked their cold brew. I sat at the same table, opened a notebook, and jotted down plans for a new project. A mentorship program for young contractors. Guys just starting out. I'd been there once, struggling to get clients, learning the ropes, getting underbid by people who didn't do the work right. Now I had the tools to give back. The barista recognized me. "You're the guy from a while back, right?" "Guess so," she smiled. "You look different then." I was. It wasn't bitterness. It wasn't nostalgia. Just a fact. People ask sometimes if I regret walking away. If I miss the marriage, the comfort, the routine. But what I had with Emily wasn't love. It was survival. A relationship where I had to earn basic respect, justify every decision, and laugh off insults just to keep the peace. That's not a life. That's a trap. I didn't escape to hurt her. I walked away to protect myself. Because here's the truth. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's not something you negotiate. You either get it or you leave. I left, and I don't look back.